Mark, very good to see you. We are starting with a question. What is a retirement drawdown strategy? I know you
Mhm.
have 6 tips to help make sure our money lasts. We spend decades building our nest egg. Then, when we retire, we need a plan to stop saving and start spending, but not spending so much that we risk running out of money. So, again, you have a plan that requires us to consider these 6 things. The first one, we need a plan to minimize taxes.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Aaron. I'm glad to be with you this morning. So, when we think about taxes, a lot of people overlook this because between taxes and health insurance or health, those are probably the two biggest threats that we're going to be dealing with. And I think for a lot of people, the opportunity today is really to look at tax planning. Simply put, we're in the lowest tax brackets that we've seen in 44 years. So this gives us the opportunity to really look at putting more of that money in the tax-free bucket. Now, obviously, this requires some logistics and planning, but ultimately, if we can do this and tax rates go up because the writing's on the wall, we have a higher deficit. And how are we going to pay for all these unfunded promises? Higher taxes, higher
Mhm.
revenue. So ultimately, yeah, we have to be looking at tax planning as an integral part of our retirement income.
Mhm. Now, number 2, you say we need to determine the most financially optimal time to claim Social Security, and this can be very complicated.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you look at it, it's all about the math. So there is some statistics that would say if you're a married couple, there's 540 different mathematical calculations and 81 different age combinations of how you can take Social Security. But I think the other consideration is when do you take it and how does that fit in the tax plan? Because again, Social Security is taxed differently than ordinary income and can throw people into higher brackets. So obviously, we need to find the best strategy that maximizes that income, but also we're paying the least amount of taxes.
Mhm. Yeah, clearly all these variables are interrelated. That's a great point to bring up. Let's move on to number 3 too. If you are lucky enough to have a pension, you need to choose the right pension payout.
Yeah, so a pension, unfortunately, it's taxable. Now, if we're trying to move to tax free, that doesn't do us any good, but it is guaranteed income. But yeah, people need to consider all of those options because once you make those decisions, you can't go back and fix it. And here's the other
Right.
thing: a lot of people have a lump sum, and the lump sum may make some sense where you can either create your own private pension, convert that to tax free, but either way, yeah, we have to take careful consideration in these decisions.
Mhm. Number 4 is that delicate balance between guaranteed income and long-term growth.
Yeah, so if when you retire, you're going from accumulation of wealth. That's your mentality. Now we're going into deaccumulation and income planning. So we need to find that balance. We need growth to offset inflation down the road to give ourselves a pay raise, but we also need some of our money in things that are conservative or even guaranteed to create that reliable, steady paycheck.
Mhm. Mhm. Right, and that brings us to number 5. We need a plan for longevity. We are living longer.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you think about it, back in 1935, when Social Security came out, the average life expectancy was 62. Well, now
Unbelievable.
people are
Yeah.
living into their 80s and 90s. I mean, you could be in retirement longer than you were in the workforce.
Right.
So, yeah, we have to account for this. And a lot of people have less income coming in from guaranteed sources. So now they're more reliant on their savings, their 401ks and whatnot.
Mhm. And number 6, you touched on this a second ago, but it's so important, it bears repeating. We need to account for inflation.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we stress test is we look at and we say, well, what if inflation was 1% higher than you're anticipating throughout your retirement? How does that impact you? And what strategies do you need to incorporate to get the growth to offset that inflation increase?
Mhm. And it is mind-blowing how that 1% change can just eat away at your savings.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, because we're living longer, we don't want to run out of money before we run out of time.
Mhm. Right. So again, it requires some proactive planning, at the very least, a plan. So Mark, if somebody would like to talk to you about creating that plan, how can they reach you?
Well, yeah, it's real simple. You can call us. Our phone number is 303 681 0113, Or you can go to our website, mcgregorwealth.com. There is a calendar link in there. You can schedule a calendar. But either way, call our office. We'll set you up. We'll set up a complimentary meeting where we can discuss all of these things and really create a roadmap for your retirement.
Great. Mark, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Erin.